Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
Listen carefully to the words of American inventor and businessman Thomas Edison. Opportunity is missed by most people because it's dressed in overalls and looks like hard work. Amen. Good morning, everybody. Here comes Kate Smith, and God bless America, followed by a patriot with our Pledge of Allegiance on a Wednesday. Call in. Good morning. Oh, please, please, I hope that God does bless America again, but we need to ask. Good morning, everybody. Zeb at the Ranch. I'm Zeb Bell with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you. And, of course, some of our great advertisers, Western Way Services, always at your disposal, 734-6969. Right now, let's go to the phone line and say good morning to our Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Well, have at it, boy.
Yes, sir. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Very well done. And right now, let's go to the weather forecast. And the weather is brought to you by K&R Rental at 256 South, 600 West of Heyburn. Number to call, 678-3122. Talk to Roger and the crew. These are great people that understand all the tools, all the equipment that you need for various jobs, from forklifts to lawnmowers and so much more. And don't forget, they're also a Honda engine dealer, and they've got all the parts you might need for your wheel lines. Yep, K&R Rental in Heyburn. Here's the weather.
Here's your weather forecast as we get ready for the Cassia County Fair Parade. It looks like mostly sunny skies for today, high of 84. Tonight we are expecting a low of 55. Tomorrow, another beautiful day. Sunny and 85 with an overnight low of 53. As we head on into the weekend, looks like sunny skies. Highs are going to be in the mid to upper 80s, close to 90. That is your weather for Zeb at the Ranch.
Oh, summer, summer, summer right here in Magic Valley. I love it. But you notice these mornings a little cooler. I noticed yesterday, Deanna and I were out walking, and you could see your breath. It's a little chilly in the morning. K&R Rental, 256 South, 600 West of Heyburn, 678-3122. They've been in business since 1979, and they can help you at K&R Rental. Oh, my goodness sakes, all kinds of things going on this week. The Cassia County Fair and Rodeo, my goodness, in full swing. And this morning at 10:30, the great big Cassia County Fair and Rodeo Parade. Once again, 10:30 this morning. That's the start time. And then tonight, the finals of the Moto Rodeo. And then Thursday, I'm choking to death on a cough drop. I just swallowed it. I'm sorry. And tomorrow night, and of course through Saturday, the PRCA Rodeo at the Cassia County Fair and Rodeo, and Friday and Saturday afternoons, 1 p.m. pari-mutuel horse racing. All of this and more at your Cassia County Fair and Rodeo for 2017. Never, ever swallow a cough drop whole. Woo! Man, light your lights up. This morning, this first hour, and I want to make you aware, I probably am going to make a lot of people upset this morning. I don't care. I've thought about it last night. I don't care if you get mad at me. I'm not in this business to make the Friend of the Year award. I'm in this business to promote and tell you, honestly, the news as to what's going on. So if you're upset, I absolutely mean this when I say this. I don't care. But first, a very dear friend of mine, and I have the highest respect for him, Superintendent of Schools Galen Smyer called me and alerted me that the National Parks and Federal Recreation Lands Senior Pass is going to be increased dramatically for people 62 and over. And they claim, well, they haven't had a raise since 1994, so they're going to jump that card rate for 62 and over from $10 to $80. So I would suggest you go in and get a pass that's going to be in perpetuity for lifetime for $10 before the end of the month. And I just think it's a huge increase for our seniors. And I suggest you get in there to the National Park Service, U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, BLM, Bureau of Reclamation, U.S. Forest Service, U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, or even at the gates of the national parks, and get the card for $10 instead of that, I think, is ridiculous price increase for seniors to $80. So take care of that right away and save some money. Save some money. Thank you, Galen. Much obliged. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I'm going to get into the crux of what I'm going to talk about this hour in just a moment. Now, again, no apologies. I'm going to stand firm on everything I've said or will say, and I'm not going to back up. I thought a lot about this over the evening, took a lot of notes, thought about it, prayed about it, and we, as citizens of this United States, we're at a turning point. We're at a fork in the road, if you will, to go to evil, unrest, social disobedience, absolute chaos, or take the other fork in the road and clean this mess up. Don't forget Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. The number to call, 678-0459. Oh, they turn the key in the door at 7:30 in the morning till 5, Monday through Friday. For all your heating and electrical needs, yep, Ramsey Heating and Electric, they are the best. And don't forget, they always provide warm winters and cool summers. And we still have some hot weather here. Get your air conditioning filters, and they've got them all for you at Ramsey Heating and Electric in Burley, 678-0459, over a half a century in serving you. I want to also say thank you to Denny's Restaurant and remind you that we are going to be over there at Denny's next week on August 24th for our August lunch bunch, our end of the summer lunch bunch. My goodness, it's hard to believe. And you can stop in anytime, all the time at 611 North Overland and Burley, America's Diner, Denny's Restaurant. Great meals, super fantastic breakfast, dinners, and lunches. And I tell you what, nice people. They have a great staff over there. And I urge you to stop in 611 North Overland and Burley and 291 Pole Line Road in Twin Falls. Denny's Restaurant, yep, America's Diner. Okay, I'm going to get right into this morning. And again, let the chips fall where they may. Donald Trump is right. Donald Trump is right. There were and are evil people on both sides of the issue in Charlottesville, Virginia, and as a matter of fact, on both sides of any issue in this country. But the left, the Democrats and the liberals, and I'm just going to call it what it is. I'm not going to say kind of innocuous statements. I'm just going to pointedly point out who it is. The left won't take any blame. The left, the Democrats and the liberals are so much above the rest of us. No. Now, there's going to be some stupid person in the audience that's going to say, wow, I see, you're acting like you're supporting white supremacy and the neo-Nazis. No, I'm not, and don't even go there. Never go there to my face or give me a call. There are evil people on both sides of this issue. Understand that. I thought that what Donald Trump had said yesterday at the press conference was spot on. Am I a Trump supporter? I haven't been really. Wasn't during the election campaign. But I think the man is spot on. But every single thing that he says, no matter what he says or the subject matter, he is going to be criticized, scrutinized, and ostracized by the goons in our society. We have a huge problem in this United States. We have a huge problem right now. None that I have ever seen like this before in my 69 years. I've been around for a while. Are we going to let the left or the right form how we live in fear in the future? Think about that. We must stop this idiocy now. Now, here's the part that's going to make some people upset, but I'm going to stand behind this. Even if it resorts in violence, we have to stop the criminals that are out there creating and factioning how they're going to run us, the rest of the citizens of the United States, with a billy club, a baseball bat, a homemade flamethrower, whatever. We've got to stop this absolute idiocy in this country. We are beyond the pale. If it doesn't stop, I see where there is going to be a complete, here's the word, revolution against our Constitution, against our Bill of Rights, and against us. Private citizens trying to make a living. We're taxpayers. We're trying to raise our kids, help support our kids with their kids, our grandkids, everything else. There is going to be a revolution, excuse me, against us. There's going to be a revolution against our history, against our past, against our leadership from the past. George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, Abraham Lincoln. Speaking of which, if you're not aware, some bunch of goons that have the IQ combined of a bicycle spoke took red paint and went all over the Lincoln Memorial. Now, it might not come off, and they might have to resurface everything and take away the originality of it, and I find this to be repulsive. I hope they find out who they are, but again, today with the laws, slap your little finger and then you go out, Johnny. I doubt anything will ever be done. This is absolutely ridiculous. Now they're demanding, and already it started yesterday. I heard a couple of people that were interviewed by the left media say, well, George Washington was a slave owner. Thomas Jefferson was a slave owner. They're bad people, and these people were also the ones that wrote the Constitution. It's a white man's Constitution. We've got to do away with it. We've got to be subversive. We've got to change this. Do you folks out in the audience realize how critical this time is? Right now, we've got to, absolutely have to, fight back and put down this insurrection. It's an insurrection. And it could very well destroy the United States of America forever. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Don't forget our friends. I'll be right with you, caller. Don't you dare hang up. Dot Foods, 1541 West 27th Street in Burley. They are America's leading food redistributor, and they handle over 70,000 products from 700 food industry manufacturers all over the United States. Thank you, Dot Foods in Burley. Golden Valley Warehouse, 468 West, 1000 South of Burley. These are really good folks. More than 30 years of operating and serving you, always with competitive prices. And they're locally owned and operated, and they say you be sure and go to the Cassia County Fair and Rodeo. Thank you, Golden Valley Warehouse. And Kelly's Bearing Supply at 1407 East Main Street in Burley. I'll tell you what, they really understand what's going on, and they always say you'll know where you're at when you get your bearings at Kelly's. Bearings, chains, brackets, everything. Zach or Brett, right there at Kelly's Bearing Supply, East Main in Burley. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb. I think maybe we need to put up a statue of the first slave owner in the United States, which was not the United States at the time, and see what the black people think about that, because it was a black man.
You know, let me ask you, you're very right in your statement, but let me ask you this, and this is where it's going to get a little dicey, and some people are going to get mad at me this morning. Bringing the blacks to America as slaves, I don't like slavery. I'd never liked the concept of slavery, but the race that we're talking about, primarily with the blacks, the Negro race, by those families that were brought here, yes, there was suffering, and yes, there was absolute detestability with slave ownership in many cases, but by bringing them here, that race of people has been brought to a country that offers more and provides more than any other country in the world if you'll get up out of the chair and go get it.
Exactly, and do you know that I think if we really, really wanted to contribute to the "we really screwed you over," to put it bluntly, then it was the Native Americans who were here first. And look at some of the atrocities that we inflicted upon them. I had a college professor said in the beginning, the Native Americans, the Indians, if you want to call them that, never lost a major skirmish. It was the disease and the starvation and stuff to the point that they, you know.
Yeah, but wait a minute. Wait a minute, my dear lady. You also have to make the concession that they were also transients that came here from another location also. So, I mean, it's been an evolving door, revolving door, if you will, of people in humanity going to other areas, other zones of our country and our world. And I'm not going to say anything negative about the evolvement of governments and locations of civilization, because that's changed all through our history.
But I mean, you know, my point being that if the people who were brought here from Africa are going to throw a fit. Look at the Chinese that were brought over.
Yeah.
I had a relative who was brought from Europe as an indentured slave, and I've read places that indentured slaves had it way worse than the plantation slaves in a lot of cases.
You know, the thing is about our great country, and Wheels, ride the gain a little bit and watch that feedback. The thing about coming to this country of America, I really, looking back in history, that was an accepted practice 1700s and 1800s. And if you think for 5 minutes I'm going to give any consideration as a taxpayer that I should make financial reparations to any kind of a race or minority, dream on, my dear friend, because that ain't going to happen from my pocketbook.
Well, no, and prove to me, if you think that, like some of these college professors are saying, oh, you know, the white people should give all their money to the black people to repay for slavery, prove to me that you are a descendant of a slave.
Yeah, absolutely.
In the 1800s, you know.
You know, last night, and by the way, I've got to do a commercial, but thank you for your call. Your comments were spot on. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. God bless.
Thank you for allowing me.
You bet. Thank you. Last night, there was a black lady on television, and at the end of the interview, she let it out as to what she really wanted. Reparations. Reparations. Now, all that means is that we want your money. We want your assets. We want everything you've got, and we're not going to work for it because you're going to pay us because, 200 and some years ago, there were slave traders and they brought us to this country, and we're going to come after you, whitey, and get your money. This is getting completely out of hand. Call me at 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Don't forget Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. They can help you get back to being you, whether it's from an accident or maybe you've had surgery or whatever. They can help you get the muscles back and feel more like yourself. They have excellent physical therapists over there and the only hydrotherapy pool in the area. Really works, I know. I've done it. So get a hold of them today, 678-1191. Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation in Burley, serving you. Caller, I'll be right there, I promise. I also want to tell everybody about Autumn Haven Assisted Living Center, and they're located at 924 Christian Way in Rupert. 436-3200, the number to call, and they are the only locally owned and operated assisted living facility in the Mini-Cassia area, and they would love to serve your loved one. Stop by. Call for a visit anytime, all the time. They'd be more than happy to show you the facility, and they're small compared to some, but with a bigger heart than most. Please give them a call, 436-3200, Autumn Haven Assisted Living Center in Rupert. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yes. Haven't we been paying them for what we've done to them? They get welfare, they get food stamps, they get low-income housing. Aren't they getting what they're wanting? Haven't we been doing that all along?
We've always had a very generous welfare program in this country, but my point is this, and here's where a lot of people are going to get upset, and there'll be also those of not very big minds that are going to start saying, Zeb's a racist, and start yelling and clamoring. But here's the point I want to get at this morning. This country, America, has opportunities, and they are available to anybody and everybody that wants to get off their dead butt and go to work. I don't care what nationality or ethnicity they are. There are plenty of opportunities, and people use them and have taken them. Look at Dr. Ben Carson. What a great example of somebody that grew up in the hood, was in trouble with the law, could have gone down the wrong path. Thank God, and he does thank God, he chose to be one of the best brain surgeons in the country. There are no excuses. If people will work, they can succeed.
I agree with you there 100%, but they've let them along and give them what they wanted all along, so they don't have to go to work. So why would they want to go to work? And that's what we're coming up with the younger generation. It's a instantaneous, I want now, and I can't wait till I get old enough to be able to do it, you know. So, but I agree with you, Zeb, but there is so many opportunities out here, and now that Trump's in, there's more help wanted signs out here than what there was when Obama was in president.
You know,
a lot of chances out here now.
Absolutely. You know, everybody in this country has got a story to tell. Everybody that has gone into adulthood has had problems. Life throws some really bad things at them, and you got to wear a catcher's mitt. You got to learn how to catch them, handle them, and then throw it back. You've got to learn how to be successful. The crybabies, the wannabes, and the never-wills are the people that absolutely, the minute life throws something bad at them, they lay down and they go, oh, wah, woe is me. Somebody help me. Somebody pay my way. And I'm fed up with that attitude.
Well, we've got a lot more opportunities out here in the country than what they do in the cities. But you can't go out there and work your 10, 11-year-old like what you and I work out in the fields, because there's too many people out there saying, oh, that's child slavery there. You can't be doing that. And so the younger people are not able to learn to work like what you and I have.
Absolutely.
And that is hurting us out here now.
I agree.
Because there's too many crybabies out here saying that we're injuring the young people. So they're not learning the work ethic that you and I have got.
You are 100% correct, and I'm not going to backwater to anybody on this issue. I think if we don't change this, I don't think if we don't start cracking down hard, those of us are the taxpayers. I'm sick and tired of having my money go to people that won't work, can work. I'm sick and tired of having my money go to people that want to desecrate our country. They want to burn things, they want to tear it apart, and they don't want to be contributors. I don't want to help those people.
Well, I think Trump will get to the bottom of it. And I would think that since we haven't heard from Hillary and Obama, I think they're still pushing all this and organizing all this. That community organizer that we had, he's organizing all this stuff. If we could get back to him and do something with him, why, maybe that would help us out. But there goes our history. If they're decimating the Lincoln Memorial and tearing this stuff down, all these statues, that's our history there, Zeb. And you and I pay good money to go back there and look at that kind of stuff because it's not out here. We don't have that. We can't go see it every day like they can back in the East.
And this is why, and I'm choosing my words very carefully here, sir, this is why you, your neighbors, me, my friends, neighbors, etc., we have to say enough and slam our fists down on the table. And like I said earlier, if it resorts in violence to put down this stupidity, and it is stupidity, so that we can protect our heritage and our history, it needs to be done.
Amen. Where do our representatives stand on this? Are we hearing anything from our people here from the state of Idaho?
And it's really interesting because I get a little bit, as you know, mad at our state representatives that represent us back in Washington, D.C., because sometimes I have to be like a dog chasing a parked car trying to get them to schedule time to come on my radio program when, in essence, whether it's Crapo, Rish, it won't ever be Simpson because he never calls, but they should be calling us for the airtime to tell us what they're doing or not doing in Washington, D.C.
I agree, because we don't know what they're doing. They could be behind all this.
Well, I won't make an insinuation.
I'll let you go.
All right,
Appreciate
sir.
it. Keep up the good work.
Thank you, sir. God bless. Have a good day. You know, I'm not going to mince words on this. There are the crackpots of the left. They live here in the valley, and, you know, they listen in, and then they go to their little typewriters on their computers and write all these crazy stories and everything. I'm used to that. But I am telling you, if we don't stand up now, to the Black Lives Matter, this new idiot group called Antifa, or the neo-Nazis, or the white supremacists, and put them down or put them out to pasture, this country is toast. Stand by, caller. I'll be right there. I want to remind everybody about Sophie's Cookies. Every Monday, we give away a dozen cookies to Sophie's Chatterbox at 530 East Street in Rupert. Oh, what a delicious place to go for breakfast. Great, great restaurant. And, of course, what a bakery. They have cookies, pies, everything. You're going to love it. Sophie's Chatterbox, 530 East Street in Rupert. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb. You know, this thing called reparation, which I think that word is invented, isn't it? I don't know if it's been in the dictionary at one time.
No, it's been a word for a long time.
Yeah, but anyway, a lot of these people that are wanting reparation are people who have never worked a day in their life, and they've on welfare and this and that and the other. They're the ones that squeal the loudest. These black people like Ben Carson and everything, they don't go out and scream about, oh, poor me. But, you know, actually, when you come right down to it, Zeb, we are slaves. We go to work every day, and the average American will give 25% of his pay that day to the government. And then he takes the other 75% and goes to the grocery store, and they'll take some. The gas tax, they take some. You know how much is left for us folks that are just getting by?
Well, and that's the point that I'm really kind of getting at this morning, Keith, is that it's kind of like looking at the sky. You're out on the lawn, you lay down on the lawn, and you look up at the sky, and you say to yourself, gee, how high is up? You know, it's kind of a funny question, but how high is up? And the American taxpayer, those of us that dedicate to get up in the morning, do something with our lives, use the talent that God gave us, and we go out and try to be something instead of a leech, we're the ones that keep paying and paying and paying all the time, and the leeches are the ones that keep crying for more.
Yeah, they don't have a job to go to every day. You know, you don't have to do this show every day, but you do because you need it for your self-preservation and for us. You got a message for us, and we probably better be paying attention to what it is.
Well, I'll tell you what, Keith, I would like to have retired. I've had a lot of health problems in the last 5 years. A lot of health problems. Now, that's not to have a, poor pity party. No, it's just something that life threw at me. And so with all the bills over and above what insurance covers, yeah, I'm still on the air. Yeah, I'm still doing a real estate business. Yeah, I do public speaking to keep the wolf away from the door. And I am damn sick and tired of having to pay part of my money to the blood leeches in our society, whether they're part of the Black Lives Matter or illegal Mexicans or Muslims coming into the area or the LGBT or welfare recipients. Yes, I'm a little bit upset this morning, and I'm not going to sit down and shut up.
Well, you know, I've had a little bit of what you go through every day myself. I had my knee operated on Monday for a torn meniscus, and I can't walk. And I'm thinking about my friends that have. you know you're not going to walk me up that day unless you have help, right?
Don't
make the very, very best of what you have, and you've done a marvelous job.
You know, every single person in life, Keith, has a, if you will, a story or a cross to bear. It's how you bear that cross is what really matters. And quite frankly, there's a lot of people so much worse off than both myself and you that are bearing that cross every day. But I'm sick and tired of the leeches that don't want to do anything for what they get. Thanks for your call, Keith. I appreciate it. God bless you, man. Thanks.
You have a wonderful day.
All right. Barry Equipment and Rental, sales, service, and parts. And they do have all the equipment to get the job done right. Boy, that's not brag, that's a fact. I mean, when we talk to Juan and Eli and the rest of the crew, woo, they've got locations on South Lincoln and Jerome, Addison Avenue West in Twin Falls, and 159 West Highway 30 in Burley. And they can serve you with all the equipment rentals. Yep. And the retail equipment sales. So please pick up the phone, give them a call, or stop over to those locations. And don't forget they've got all the shapes and sizes of the Bobcat excavators. If you're looking for one, they've got them. So stop over. Barry Equipment and Rental, Jerome, Twin Falls, and 159 West Highway 30 in Burley. Calls are welcome. Don't weaken on this, folks. Honestly, we really do have to address head on, and not mince any words, excuse me, about the Black Lives Matter in this country, about the Antifas starting problems in this country, about the neo-Nazis and their problems in this country, and yes, the white supremacists in this country. America should be still a melting pot with assimilation for one cause. The United States of America, our Constitution, and our freedom. But it's not working that way. So many other groups want what we and my father and my grandfather and his father, on down the list, have given blood, sweat, and tears for. They don't want to work for it. They don't want to work to keep it. And I'm sick and tired of just giving things to people. You know, if we don't stand up and change what's happening, we've lost it all. I dare you to tell me I'm wrong. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning. Hey, you know, On your subject there, I'm 100% behind you. I mean, this is totally ridiculous. I mean, here's what started that problem, and that was history. And the history has two sides to it. Now, let's take this. What would happen if someone would go out there and tear down a Martin Luther King sign or a Martin Luther King statue? What would happen on that? That's a question.
Yep.
I'd like to hear the answer.
Well, I'll give you the answer right now. All heck will break loose. Oh, my goodness, there would be rioting in the streets. Oh, my goodness, there would be murders. There would be burnings. There would be everything. We'd be looking at an insanity that would creep across this whole country. There's my answer. I'll give you another answer before you even ask it. As same way with the Muslims. If anybody comes out and says anything denigrating Muhammad, look out, Katie, bar that door. I mean, anything on the left that is going to be perpetrated against them, look out. Hold on to your blue jeans, buddy, because your boots are coming off.
Yep. Well, that little deal in Charlotte, you know where I'm talking about. That situation was brought on by the Antifa, not the KKK, not the neo-Nazis, not that.
Well, I lost you. Are you still there?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, the point that I think you're making is that there was evil, and I'm going to use that word on both sides. That when you have a conflagration of people with different viewpoints and it moves on to baseball bats, homemade flamethrowers, iron and brass knuckles, I mean, hey, this thing's completely out of line. And Trump was right. There were evil, bad people on both sides. And for the left, especially the news media, to gang up on him at that press conference yesterday and say that, oh, the left didn't do anything. Why, my goodness, it was just the neo-Nazis and the white supremacists. That's bogus. It's a lie. There were evil people on both sides.
Yep, exactly.
Appreciate your call, sir.
And like you said, with the news to come in and go on one side of the fence, just don't cut it.
Amen. Thank you very much. You're always welcome. Appreciate your call. God bless. Thank you much.
Yep, have a good day.
Thank you. You know, it's so ridiculous to hear this news media. I listened and watched that press conference with Donald Trump yesterday. And I thought, and I really don't give a rip if somebody wants to argue with me, I thought that what he said was spot on. And what he said about the left was spot on. What he said about the right was spot on. There were two groups of people that were there for one purpose, and that's to beat each other up. And both sides are guilty. Oh, not according to the liberal media. Oh, how dare Donald Trump say this? And then they've had the audacity to say, well, he didn't say enough originally on Monday. Well, he didn't say enough on Saturday. Well, he didn't say enough yesterday. You know what? This criticism of the presidency right now has just got my blood boiling. The man cannot do anything right and have it reported in an honest fashion. This Trump administration made that fat little corpuscle over in North Korea back down. Did he get any credit? I'm telling you, I am sick and tired of the way this country is going, and it's going down the wrong fork in the road. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb. You know, people need to take a look at the big picture here. This entire event was orchestrated with purpose, and the purpose being that there would be a clash between these two ideals. You know, the city there denied the white supremacists and the KKK and all that, denied them a permit to be there. And at the last minute, and of course they're not reporting this, but at the last minute, the ACLU actually came in and told the city that they would sue them if they didn't give them a permit.
Right.
the white supremacists a permit.
Right.
The same guy that invited the KKK and these other organizations also put this whole thing together and invited the Black Lives Matter and the other people together, knowing that there would be a big conflict. The whole thing was orchestrated with purpose, and that purpose was to be able to denigrate these white supremacists, if you want to call them that, organizations. These people are socialists and communists. They're not Democrats. They're not progressives. They are socialists and communists.
Yeah, but wait a minute. As we pointed out on the program the other day, socialism is a stepladder to the ultimate goal of communism. So one feeds the other one in perpetuity. What I want to see is a complete stoppage of the hate in this country. I mean, look back. I mean, I don't care if you're white, I don't care if you're purple, I don't care what color your skin is, I don't care where you're from. If you're here in America, here's the rules that I think should be abided by. You are assimilating into our culture. You absolutely accept our laws and regulatory means and methods. You accept our Constitution, and you live as an American, and you respect our country and respect our flag, and that's all I want. But when you start coming in here and tearing things apart for only the good of you and your group, whether it's Black Lives Matter or whether it's Antifa or whether it's the KKK, I think those groups have got to sit down, be made to shut up and understand you break the law, we're going to put you down.
Well, it's, as long as we allow this to continue to fester, the sore is just going to get bigger.
Yeah.
These people want this Antifa and Black Lives Matter and stuff. They're all being fueled by people like George Soros and the rest of them that hate the idea of freedom. I mean, you know, where's it going to stop? Well, when they take down the Ten Commandments, or when they start removing crosses.
Yeah.
How about when we start burning books?
Yeah.
How about when we start executing people for their beliefs?
Yeah,
this has got to stop.
And you know what, caller?
People need to come together and stop the evil, no matter which side that it's on.
I agree.
So that we can live in our republic as our founding fathers envisioned it.
I got to run to do a weather forecast, but your dissertation right there was absolutely spot on. Thank you, caller. God bless you. Have a wonderful day.
God bless you too, my brother.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm not going to weaken on this. I have no time on this program to give benefits, praise, or anything to the Black Lives Matter, Antifa, illegal aliens coming into this country. They're illegal, they broke the law, or the LGBTQ, whatever their alphabet is, ARIT, I don't care what they call themselves, or welfare recipients that are absolutely out to beat the system and get a free ride. I'm going to keep antagonizing them and pointing my finger at them. Right now it's time for the weather, and the weather brought to you by Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids with the lovely Dr. Christine Pickup, and she owns the only locally owned and independent hearing health care practice in southern Idaho, right across from the Minidoka Hospital Emergency Room, and that's Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. Call for an appointment today at 312-0957. Here now, Gina with the weather.
Here's your weather forecast as we get ready for the Casa County Fair Parade. It looks like mostly sunny skies for today, high of 84. Tonight we are expecting a low of 55. Tomorrow, another beautiful day. Sunny and 85 with an overnight low of 53. As we head on into the weekend, looks like sunny skies. Highs are going to be in the mid to upper 80s, close to 90. That is your weather for Zebeth Ranch.
Thank you, Gina. Brought to you by Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. I urge you. I went to have a hearing screening, and I'm so thankful that I did. And I urge you to call 312-0957. Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids, and make sure that if you've got some semblance of a hearing loss, be sure and know she can and will help you. Dr. Christine Pickup at Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. Calls are welcome and appreciated. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. It's going to be kind of interesting over the next couple of days to see what kind of emails and calls I get regarding our first hour here this morning. In no way, shape, or form am I going to back up, and I'll throw one other little coal on the fire here. The cops in Charlottesville, Virginia, they should have the finger pointed at them, and they should be highly criticized. They let this situation get out of hand. And then some of their remarks from the so-called leadership said, well, we didn't want to get in there and really create a bigger problem, so we just let it kind of fester and take care of itself. No. They are here to protect us. I have been a strong advocate on this program of the police and our military. Certain parts of the police back in that area have been an embarrassment. And quite frankly, standing down does not stop a problem. It exacerbates it. And they should be highly criticized for what they let happen to the volatile moments that occurred. On a related subject, I was watching television and a young woman, probably about 21, 22 years of age, a college student, a conservative young lady, has had her picture taken with Vice President Pence and his wife. And she posted it on her Facebook. She was very proud that she had been selected to go up and meet the vice president. All heck broke loose against this woman, including from her family and friends, because they called her a bigot supporting a bigoted administration like Donald Trump. That just shows you how completely nuts the left is in this country. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Well, I have to give Trump, there's a courageous guy. Obviously, there would have been no confrontation for two things. Who ordered the stand down? Because obviously what you're talking about, if they had not been a stand down, and there wouldn't have been this chaos. But before that even, there would have been no chaos at all. All these George Soros types and so forth that are paid for, these paid educators, they came in there wanting to create a conflict. And Trump has pointed that out. There's much, if not more guilty than the white supremacists. And let's remember, Nazi stands for National Socialism. That's left-wing, not right-wing. Most people don't realize that.
You know, you always bring up good points in the morning, Adrian, and I appreciate it. And next week, I'm going to do another program segment on socialism leading to communism. I appreciate your call. I got one more commercial to get in. Thank you, my friend. Thank you very much.
You have a good one. Thanks.
Thank you, sir. Bye. Don't forget our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you. And they want you to get where you're going this summer and turn around and safely come home. That's right, all 7 locations. And they've got the best in tires. You know that. They've got the best in brake service. You should know that. Front end alignment, shocks and struts, batteries, all of it. And also ask them about a free pre-trip safety check, a visual inspection of a lot of the major components of your automobile to make sure that you get where you're going this summer and return safely home. Stop in and see Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, Daniel on Pole Line in Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland in Burley. Yup, the best. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. For those of you that we have stirred up this morning in the audience, whether it's here, whether it's in Indiana, Texas, Louisiana, Florida, wherever you're listening on the internet service, and you're all upset at Zeb, why, my goodness, he's terrible. That's too bad. We've got to clean this country up. If it means stepping on certain groups' toes, so be it. Get some steel-toed boots. because we are losing our character, and we're losing our morality in this country. We're losing what people died for and provided to us. We're losing it. We're giving it away to those that are so obnoxious and so off the wall. It's ridiculous to think that they have any power, but they do. We've got to stop the idiocy in this country. Coming up next hour, we've got Dave Bego from Indianapolis, Indiana. And then at 9:30, to highlight what I was talking about this first hour, Ed Brodow is going to come back on the program, and he wrote a book called The Tyranny of the Minority. Think about those words. His book, and it's a great book. We're going to talk more about this. And then at 10:06 for the hour till 11, we have the Idaho fishing game. We got a whole bunch left to go. Zeb at the Ranch, don't go away. Wheels, it's all yours. Well, here we are, hour number 2. Zeb at the Ranch, and of course I'm Zeb Bell with your major sponsor, and that is, of course, and we thank your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations. Thank you so much for what you do, and of course some of our great advertisers like Western Waste Services.
From the canyons of the Snake River and all across southern Idaho, we're always at your disposal. Western Waste Services, we care about our community, our resources, and this great land. Western Waste Services is lending a hand, always at your disposal.
Western Waste Services, and of course, if you haven't called them at 734-6969 and asked to get on their route service to get your garbage picked up, it's gone. It's out of there. I'll tell you what, they are so reliable, right on time. My goodness, they're loyal to the community and the people they serve. Western Waste Services, always at your disposal. Call them at 734-6969. Want to also say thank you to Dr. Bill and the entire crew over there at Ark Animal Hospital. What nice people, really, and they've been voted Minnecastia's best veterinary hospital multiple times. Ark Animal Hospital at 750 21st Street, right near Connection Credit Union in Hayburn. Number to call, number to remember, put it on your refrigerator, 678-1177. They're a mixed animal practice, meaning big or small, they love them and can take care of them all. Ark Animal Hospital, call today, 678-1177. They do have the warm hearts for the cold noses. I love that. By the way, too, I want to say a big thank you to Joel Heward, his family, and his staff. They've been with us for a long, long time on this program. And the thing I learned about Joel and his family and his staff is their commitment to serve other people. Boy, I mean, whatever the community event or activity, they're always there jumping in, helping, and serving. Well, that's how it is with your family. When there's the passing of a loved one, they are right there to serve you always with the highest ethical standards, with unquestioned integrity. Please call the number 436-5636. That number again, 436-5636. Hanson Mortuary, 710 6th Street in Rupert. Well, it's Wednesday. And I didn't pull any punches the first hour, and I'm not going to pull any punches with my guest this hour. And a very dear friend of mine is ready to come on the air right now. Dave Bego, Indianapolis, Indiana. How are you, sir?
I'm doing pretty good, Zeb. How you doing?
Well, I'm going to get right to the crux of what I've been talking about this morning. If you don't agree with me, I'll just say that's fine. We'll agree to disagree, but I'm not going to back up. Right now is a turning point in this country. And we're at a fork in the road. If we choose the wrong one to go down, this country will be ruined forever. If we keep letting what happened in Charlottesville happen, if we keep letting the Black Lives Matter, the Antifa, and the white revolutionaries, the neo-Nazis and everything, controlling what's going on in the news and around our cities in the United States, America is done. What are your thoughts?
Well, Zeb, I don't know that we're done, but we definitely have to stand up and expose these people, and that's what I've been trying to do through my book and, my blogs and my newsletter and radio programs and all that kind of stuff, because I fought these people behind the scenes that are controlling this stuff, like the SEIU and Soros are behind Black Lives Matters and Fight for 15 and all that kind of stuff, and this white supremacist thing, I'm trying to delve deeper into who's really pushing that, and it almost seems like these groups are coming together and trying to create all this to bring down this country, as I've talked about before. When the Obama administration was in, they were fundamentally trying to destroy this country and turn it into a socialistic, communist country, and people got to wake up, and the politicians in Washington need to wake up.
Well, I'll stand behind my statement America's done, because you cannot have the destruction and the turmoil that we're having right now. You cannot have these people saying, well, George Washington was a slave owner, Thomas Jefferson was a slave owner. Well, we can't allow those people to be out in front of the public eye even today, and we've got to change Washington off our currency. We've got to do this to dismantle everything because these people wrote our Constitution. Dave, I'm telling you, this is a situation right now where if it's not addressed and handled and thwarted, America is done.
Well, Zeb, I think it's in trouble, but I think we'll handle it, because the one thing you have to understand that this is a small percentage of the population, and we have to I think when it comes down to fighting these, because I've come down to the brass tacks and fighting the unions, the SEIU, when they did the same tactics against me, same tactics, okay, is that you really get people starting to wake up, and you really, get them to understand what's going on, and these people start fighting back, and I think there's a lot more good people in this country that will stand up, and we'll get this thing taken care of. But the thing that bothers me the most is that the mainstream media is being controlled by the left, and they're going to keep throwing this stuff out there, and that's the bad news.
That's absolutely true. And I'll tell you something, I have not been a big Trump supporter through the election campaign and even now, but I will tell you this, that man, no matter what he does, no matter what he says, no matter what his administration comes out with press releases, they are going to be condemned and damned by the silly liberal left. And case in point, Charlottesville, no matter what Trump says, no matter what he says, and he was right when he said there was evil on both sides, the left and the right, they absolutely denigrated him.
Yeah, and they're going to continue to do that, because what's interesting, Zeb, I'll tell you, I had a state senator in my office yesterday from Indiana, and we were talking about this stuff, and he's actually considering running for Congress, and he used to be in the police force and that, but he says, Washington is truly a swamp, he says, and if I get elected, Dave, he says, I am not going to go there and do the stuff that all these politicians in Washington are doing, because they like the lifestyle and the limelight and all that kind of stuff. I'm going to go there and do the right things for America, and that's what we need out of people in this country. We need people to go to Washington, that they spend their week in Washington doing what's right for the country, and the rest of the time they are taking care of their families and doing the right things for America.
Let me tell you something, Dave, from my standpoint, this idiocy and incompetency that's being displayed by the left and toppling over Civil War statues, Robert E. Lee, and then going last night to the Lincoln Memorial and using red spray paint to print filthy graffiti all over everything. These people, they may be small in numbers and small percentages, like you said, but they're getting the backing of the media, which increases more violence, increases more of their want to do evil in this country. And I'm telling you, somehow we got to put the hammer down on them.
Well, we do. And, these people, remember, we have the First Amendment, free speech, so they can say what they want to say. But when it comes to violence or denigrating things or, damaging things, we have laws, and those laws should be upheld, and these people ought to be, taken to task for that and have to go through the process. And if they damage things, then they deserve whatever, sentence they get.
I was watching a TV interview last night, Dave, and you're going to have to pardon me this morning because, boy, I'm walking a thin line of being really mad or terribly mad this morning. I am upset about the way things are going. And on this TV segment last night, there was a black woman that was being interviewed about the mess in Charlottesville, and, she condemned Trump, and she said it was all his fault and everything else. And then at the end of the interview, she let it out as to what she, on behalf of her cohorts, really want. They want reparations. They want our money. They want to be paid from way back in the 1700s and 1800s, and they want a free ride. This is all coming out right now, Dave Bigo, and we need to be very wary of what takes place.
Oh yeah, Zeb, I know this stuff because, again, this all goes back to the socialistic, communistic mentality, where they want everybody to be the same, everybody gets the same, and and when they do that, the country and people are easier to control, and that's what they're trying to do. They're just trying to blend us all together and say, yeah, you got to take care of us for that and this and that, and then we got to take care of us going forward, and everybody gets the same stuff, and that's how socialism, communism works.
The thing is, Dave, how do we stop it? What's going to happen? Is it going to be a clash of the titans, if you will, both sides for the survival of the Constitution and our Bill of Rights and our morality and our family values? I mean, what's going to happen? I, for one, and I mean this, I am not going to back up to anybody. I am not going to make any payments to somebody over transgressions that happened 300 years ago. I absolutely am saying enough is enough. We've got to stop this.
Well, you're right, and we do have to stop it. And as I said before, I really believe that if this continues to heighten, I think we're going to see an uprising from people, the good people in this country. They're going to get tired of this stuff, and they're going to develop some backbone, and we're going to put this thing to rest. And but we got to keep informing people of what's really going on, because most Americans, Zeb, you got to realize this is a small percent of America that's causing all this.
That's right.
And but most Americans, they're out there every day working hard, doing their jobs, trying to do the right things, take care of their families and all that stuff, and they're kind of oblivious to this, and they're not paying attention to it, and they're shrugging it off as just, nonsense. And but if this continues to go, I think we're going to see a big change in how regular Americans respond. And we saw that in the elections with a lot of the blue-collar workforce and that going for Trump. And I was going to talk to you about right to work. The unions and left are trying to knock down the right to work bill in Missouri that was just passed.
Right.
And an article that I just read this morning and yesterday about it, it says that basically behind the scenes, the people are for this stuff, and the majority of the population want right to work, and even the blue collar workers that used to be union workers are tired of this stuff. And I think we're going to see these people, just like they are in Missouri, start speaking out.
I hope so. We have a caller with a question. Go ahead, caller. You're on the air.
Well, Dave, I believe that the people that voted for Trump stood up and defied, peer pressure and did what they felt was right. And a lot of people voted for him secretly because they received so much heat if they spoke up. But I don't think any of these people have changed their mind, and I believe that there's more people that are changing their mind about Trump and realizing that he's getting a raw deal. Whoever believed in this media in the before, I mean, it's just the same old people. Just like you say, the percentage that is creating this problem is a low percentage. One more quick thing, whether or not it's Lindsey Graham, McCain, is Cory Gardner trying to show up against the president? I haven't even realized that one yet. I'll hang up.
Dave, respond, please.
Well, I'm glad he agreed that it's a small percentage, but I do think behind the scenes, these people that voted for Trump, They want to see America go back. They're tired of being held captive. It's like the union workers, they're tired of the labor bosses controlling them and using their money for political, reasons and agenda. And in that article on Right to Work I just told you about, in the article, the union people admitted that over 90% of the union dues that goes to politics goes to the Democratic Party. And the Democratic Party is the one that's behind the scenes to controlling the media and siding with the SEIU and Soros and trying to, make these changes. But it's the far left side. There's a lot of Democrats out there that behind the scenes are changing their mind and they're sticking with it. And I think we'll continue to see it. As far as, McConnell and Kate McCain and Lindsey Graham and those people in Washington, they're all, they're all shifting back and forth just to protect their jobs because they just want to stay in Washington for the wages and benefits and the lifestyle and all that kind of stuff. And again, I'll say this over and over. We need term limits. And
absolutely.
By the way, the state senator I talked to yesterday, that was one of the first things he told me. He says, Dave, one of the things I'm going to push if I get elected to Congress in Washington is for term limits because these people need to be out of Washington.
Absolutely. Boy, underline that, emphasize it, put it on a plaque, send it to me. I agree with you 1,000%. There's another aspect of this problem back in Charlottesville, or for that matter, going on in other areas of the United States I want you to comment on. I have been and will be very supportive of our military and our police. But there's a caveat there. When I see what they let happen in Charlottesville, as the police were literally standing on the sidelines doing nothing but being observers and letting this clash get to the point where it did, then I put my finger in the face of the police and say, do your job. What are your thoughts?
Well, I agree. Unfortunately, what you get on this stuff in some of these areas is that the politicians, they go to the chief of police or whoever and tell them, just stay back. We don't want this to explode into something bad. Don't do anything. And that's got to stop. I don't care which side of the aisle you're on. If people are out there doing the wrong things and they're desecrating things and causing, injury and riots and stuff like that, they need to be stopped.
I said earlier this morning, and I want to get your viewpoint and see if you think I'm right or wrong or indifferent on this thing, but everybody is on the left, they're always pointing the finger at Trump saying, he didn't do this, he didn't get this done, well, he's late doing this. But meanwhile, they're stymieing and stopping everything this man's trying to get through, or his administration is trying to get through. But he did something this last week that absolutely was a benefit to you, me, our families, and our future. And that's, he told the fat little man over in North Korea, we're not going to take your garbage. We're not going to take any threats. You do something out of line, and I will bury you. And Kim Jong-un backed off. And I think that is a real plus for the Trump administration.
Oh, absolutely. And that's what you have to do with bullies. And, again, what we're seeing in this country right now from the left is bullies trying to enforce their will. And I think Trump is doing the same thing with them. He's standing up and he's telling them. And, the rest of America has to get some backbone and stand up too. And the politicians and the Republicans in Washington need to stand up and have some backbone too, because what these people are doing is wrong. They have the right to free speech, but when it comes to desecration and injury and destruction and stuff like that, then our laws need to be upheld.
Absolutely. And speaking of laws, I want you to comment quickly on this story, if you would, because it involves your state of Indiana. The Attorney General Sessions and the President both got together months ago and said they were going to come down hard on MS-13 and the gang violence in this country, the growing gang violence, all the way from Long Island, New York, all across this country. I understand now that Ohio and your state of Indiana have had many members of MS-13, and they are being arrested arrested and held for deportation. But here comes the liberal left crybabies again. Oh, these are just children. These are killers, Dave.
Zeb, this is what they do. I mean, again, if people would go read my book and read how the SEIU attacked us and, threw out information that was just lies and everything else just to make us look bad. And that's what they're trying to do, make you look bad. And what we have to do and what Trump has to do and the Republican Party, even the Democratic Party, the ones that understand what America really is, not this far left stuff, they have to stand up and expose these people and expose their lies. Because once you do, it's, as I say in my book, in my introduction, it's like in the movie Christmas Story when, the little boy, he got tired of the bully chasing him around, beating him up, and he smacked him in the nose out on the playground in the snow and knocked him down. And this is what you've got to do to these people because that's the only thing they understand.
There's so much to talk about, and we've got so much to worry about in this country. But if we would just sit down and think of the basics, think about all the blood, sweat, and tears and the lives that were provided for us to enjoy the greatest country in the world, but yet these groups, Black Lives Matter and Antifa and all these other idiots, they are bent on destruction, and I honestly can't figure out why. We live in the best country in the world.
Well, it's very simple, Zeb. It's very simple. Again, Black Lives Matter is supported by Soros and the SEIU, and they don't know how to function in our free market capitalistic society. They don't know how to go out and do things the right way, and make themselves look good, and grow their business and do the right things, and be profitable at it. They just don't know how to do it. The only way they know how to get their point across and do the things they want to do is by controlling people and being bullies. And that's why they want to fundamentally change this country. They just don't understand or aren't willing to work hard enough to be successful in a free market society.
Bingo. That is the key right there. My friend, author of The Devil at Our Doorstep, The Devil at My Doorstep, and just a super businessman that knows. Dave Bego, Indianapolis, Indiana. Wow, I've enjoyed our conversation this morning. Thank you, my dear friend.
Well, thank you. Thank you for bringing it all up because we need to wake up America.
God bless you, man. Thanks. Dave Bego, Indianapolis, Indiana, one of my favorite guests to have on this program. Don't forget, let's see, let me take a look at the watch here. In about an hour, of course, the great big 2017 Cassia County Fair and Rodeo Parade's going to start. Yeah, buddy, 10:30. And then tonight, the finals of the motocross rodeo. And then tomorrow night through Saturday night, the PRCA rodeo. And then on Friday and Saturday at 1 p.m. in the afternoon, Parimutuel horse racing. They've got a great carnival over there, lots of great entertainment on the free stage. What are you waiting for? Please get in the car, pick up, run to the Cassia County Fair and Rodeo and enjoy. I want to also mention at this time some of the merchants that wish you a safe trip and enjoyment at the Cassia County Fair, and they include Streamline Precision, 120 South, 100 West of Burley, with Tim and the whole crew. Oh, my goodness sakes, they are excellent at steel buildings, and they want to say thank you to all the 4-H'ers and FFA'ers for all the great projects, and enjoy the Cassia County Fair from Streamline Precision in Burley. Also, thanks go out to Magic Valley Irrigation, 44 East, 500 South of Burley. Jeff and the whole crew. Wow, they've been offering irrigation system service and repair since way back in 1978. Don't forget, they're the specialists that serve you at Magic Valley Irrigation, south of Burley. You get a hold of them today. And AMI. 719 Overland in Burley. I chuckle every time I say that because look for the big 28-foot wrench over the door and you'll go nuts over their bolts. Absolutely good people serving you at AMI, and they urge you to go to the Cassia County Fair and Rodeo. Thank you very much. In just a moment, we're going to have our friend Ed Brodow on the program with us. But first and foremost, I also want to tell you, about Let's Ride. Ooh, boy. Look at the weather outside. Look at the weather as what it's going to be on the extended forecast. And get out and enjoy Idaho. They got all the four-wheelers. They got all the side-by-sides. I'm telling you, they have everything over there for you to enjoy some fun here in southern Idaho. So get over there to Let's Ride. 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World. Open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6, Saturdays, 9 to 4. They've got all the accessories, and they've got a wonderful service department. What are you waiting for? Get over there where the fun is sold. Let's Ride. In Rupert, call them, stop in today. Also, I want to talk to you just for a quick minute about some insurance professionals that absolutely serve you and your family. That's Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. All the life insurance, all the health insurance, all the retirement planning and employee benefits, all there for you and the protection of your family and business. So get a hold of them today. Make an appointment. They're very dedicated and responsive to your needs. Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert, 436-4424. I have been looking forward to this interview this morning with a gentleman that I like because he's straightforward, tells it like it is, fits right into the mode of this program, don't back up, take a punch and then hit back. And that, of course, is the author of the book called Tyranny of the Minority, Ed Brodow. Ed, good morning, sir.
Good morning to you.
I wanted you on the program for this reason. I know you were on recently, but I wanted you to come back on the program, Ed. I am not at all happy with what's going on in the news media or what's going on in this country. I said earlier this morning, and I'm going to stand behind it, that we are at a crossroads, and if we don't stop going down the road where we are, insurrection, Black Lives Matter, all this terrible attitude that's going on in this country, America will be lost. Do you agree with me or not?
Yeah, that's why I wrote my book.
That leads me right into it. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, you know, I wrote the book because a friend of mine said, did Obama have a major impact on this country? Did Obama, in his 8 years, have an effect on the United States? And my first reaction was, yeah, of course he did. But I guess a lot of people don't realize it. So I decided I had to write a book to describe the effect that the left has had on this country and is continuing to have. And if we don't respond to it, we're going to lose the country. Now, the good news, let me start out with the good news. The good news is that Trump won the election. That was a very, very important thing to happen, because if Hillary had won the election, it would have been a continuation of everything that Obama did to bring this country down. And it was a whole movement to bring the country down. The fact that Trump was elected means that there's a movement to push against that. And that brings hope into this whole picture. So I'm optimistic, even though the left continues its assault on our values, the fact that Trump has been put in office and is changing the landscape, for me, represents optimism.
Let me ask you this. Ed, you've been touting this book, Tyranny of the Minority, how the left is destroying America. I'm sure that you've been on many talk shows. I'm sure you've been interviewed by many people. Naturally, you're trying to sell your book. But what about the negativity against you and the contents of the book? What have you seen come back to you?
Well, not that much, I guess, because mostly the shows that have me on are conservative shows. So I haven't had that much in the way of, what the hell are you talking about, or what are you crazy, or the kind of stuff that you would get from liberals. But over the past few years, in various interactions that I've had with people, I have been called every name in the book. I've been called a racist, a bigot, an Islamophobe, you name it. And it's very disturbing, because I am none of these.
And it is very upsetting, when you are an open-minded person and someone accuses you of being a racist or a bigot. That's very upsetting. So, I had to understand the reason is because these people don't have substantive arguments to present to refute my arguments. So in lieu of arguments, they attack me personally. It's called ad hominem. The same thing they're doing to Trump, calling Trump a racist, calling Trump a bigot. He is none of these things that they are calling him, but they don't have any substantive arguments to present.
Let me ask you this, Ed. When you looked at the situation in Charlottesville, with the right and the left both having evil people and the insurrection and fighting that was going on between them, and then you look at the left tearing down the Civil War monuments, the statues, Robert E. Lee, etc., and then last night some goons going to the Lincoln Memorial and spray painting really filthy graffiti all over the Lincoln Memorial. What does that tell you about the insurrection that's going on in this country, that we have to somehow put a finger on it and stop it?
Well, frankly, much as I dislike these far-right, these neo-Nazi types, I'm not worried about them. They've always been around. They'll always be around. They're fringe, lunatic fringe. I am worried more about the radical leftists. They're the ones that worry me, because they're the ones that are attempting to change the values of the country. They're the ones that are really trying to shut down free speech in favor of political correctness, which is an abomination as far as I'm concerned. Now, they're the ones that are trying to destroy the rule of law. They're the ones that are going around to the universities and shutting down free speech. Not the neo-Nazis. You don't see the neo-Nazis at Berkeley trying to shut down free speech. It's the left. So I am more concerned about what the left can do to this country.
Let me throw this into the fray for you this morning, and I want to get your viewpoint as we looked at the situation, and these people want to destroy history. They want to destroy our heritage. They want to take down and disassemble everything this country was built on. They want to possibly even denigrate and destroy the character of George Washington and Thomas Jefferson. They want to basically go after the Constitution and dismantle this because they're angry at the white men that wrote that Constitution. How concerned are you that right now where we're at this morning, we could see a complete pulling the rug out from underneath of the values of America that has lasted for 250 years?
Well, that's exactly what my book's about. That's exactly it. They're trying to pull the rug out from under us by destroying the values that make America America. The left believes that the end justifies the means, so violence is acceptable to them as long as it helps them to achieve their objectives. And their objective is to replace our Republican form of government with an authoritarian socialist government run by unelected bureaucrats. It's the same thing that we're seeing in Europe with the European Union. Another bunch of unelected bureaucrats that are trying to impose their own leftist agenda on the European countries. And they're getting away with it. We can't allow that to happen in this country.
When we say we can't allow it to happen, though, Ed, you're a United States Marine Corps retired, tough guy. You've seen the bad, the good, and the ugly of everything around the world. What do we do? I mean, how do we stop this? I absolutely am sitting here this morning going, is it going to be a clash of the titans, the right and the left, or what's going to happen in this country to stop this idiocy that's started and now starting to burn with a pretty good fire?
What has to happen is that people who are more inclined to the conservative point of view, people who have respect for the Constitution, people who have respect for the rule of law, have to get out there and put their opinions out into the open. See, I think that the left has been much more vocal than the right. The left is right in your face. They let you know what they're thinking and what they. Conservatives have had a tendency to be intimidated by the left, and we got to stop doing that. I'll give you an example. I have one of my best friends had one of those red hats, those Trump hats that said "Make America Great Again."
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
So he had one of those hats, and he went down to his gym, the health club, wearing the hat. And there were a bunch of liberals hanging out at the gym, and they made fun of him. So he wouldn't wear it. He refused to wear it, and he was afraid to wear it.
Oh, my.
Well, there's the problem. I encourage him to keep wearing the hat. I encourage all conservatives to get out there and express your views and let people know how concerned you are about all this stuff. Because if we don't do that, the left is they're gonna wash over us.
You know,
we have to be more proactive in expressing our opinions, and we have to support Trump in his attempt to reform the government.
Absolutely. Ed, when you finished the book, Tyranny of the Minority, and it went to press, it went to print, it went out to the public, I would imagine that every day since you finished the book, you're probably saying to yourself, with the idiocy and incompetency that's going on in this country, holy cow, I wished I could have added another chapter. Has that not happened?
Well, that's always the case. I've written 7 books, and it's true of every book. You know, the day you write the book, to some extent, it's already obsolete. You just have to deal with that. Now, I thought of something this morning I wish I'd put in the book. But it's too late. Can't worry about it. You know, it is what it is. It's fine the way it is. And, you know, whatever I want to add to it, I can add to it in interviews like this and articles that I write.
Absolutely.
Or, you know, like from the Daily Caller. So you just have to accept that what you've written is stuck in time.
If your book was a billboard and it could be seen by every single America, what would you want that billboard to say about your book so that everybody, right, left, in the middle of the road, whatever, would try to read your book?
It should say, wake up, stop the left from destroying our institutions and our values.
The book is excellent. I've read your book, Tyranny of the Minority, How the Left is Destroying America. You are an excellent author and a great spokesperson. Any final words about this mess in Charlottesville as to how it might affect the presidency of Donald Trump and how it's affecting our police work in this country? I'd like to hear your comments on that.
Well, I think the police have been intimidated by political events. They're afraid to do their job because if they do, they're afraid they'll get sued. So you have a situation like this where you have a big clash in Charlottesville and the police are standing around doing nothing. You have them pulling down the statue of some Confederate officer, and the police are standing around not doing anything. You know, this is terrifying. This is, and by the way, I blame Obama for this, because he encouraged disrespect for the rule of law. That's why we have these sanctuary cities. They're all symptoms of the disrespect for the rule of law. If we don't have law, we have anarchy. There's no in between. Either we enforce our laws, or we have total anarchy and a destruction of the social fabric. I've been afraid for years that we could, in one day, we could lose the civility that we have in our daily lives. That we could all be sitting in our houses, shivering and afraid that people are going to come around and shoot us.
Yeah.
I feel that way because when I was growing up in New York, I lived through a series of riots, and I saw how it can occur. How all of a sudden there's a flashpoint, and one minute you're living in safety and you feel you're insulated from that kind of thing, and the next minute, boom, all hell breaks loose. And that could happen in this country.
Absolutely.
We could have total civil unrest, which which would result in the government having to step in, which is what the left wants. And the government would interfere in every aspect of our lives, and we have what the left is hoping that we will have, and that is an authoritarian government.
Absolutely.
That's the scary part. Everyone should read George Orwell's 1984. Read it?
Go ahead, Ed. I don't know what happened. Go ahead.
Did you ever read George Orwell?
Yes, I have. As a matter of fact, it was one of my favorite books. I've read it about 3 times, and I can look right over here to the right on my bookshelf, and I can see the book. It's a book that I absolutely recommend like you do.
Well, I read it when I was a young man, and I read it again about 6 weeks ago. I got a hold of a copy, and I reread it. It's really fascinating, and it's a wake-up call. Everybody should read it. They should read my book, Tyranny of the Minority, and they should read 1984.
Absolutely. Now, tell me quickly again, Ed, your book, Tyranny of the Minority, How the Left is Destroying America. Where can they find the book, and how do they obtain a copy?
The best place to go is Amazon.com.
Well, I really appreciate it. The author of the book, Tyranny of the Minority, Ed Brodow. Thank you, sir. God's blessings, and please come back in the future.
I'd love to. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Very straightforward man right there that I appreciate on this program. And a great author, United States Marine Corps retired, Ed Brodow. Thank you for being on the program this morning. I'm not in a good mood this morning seeing all this vile and this filth and destruction going on in our country. It's got to stop. Right now it's time for the weather, brought to you by Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane and Company. CPAs that have been providing accounting services to the Mini-Cassia area for well over 50 years. Over 50 years. I mean, pretty well established in helping you. The best of tax return preparation, tax planning, financial statement preparation, retirement planning, all of this and more. From Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane and Company, with 2 locations, Burley and Rupert, serving you. Right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Here's your weather forecast as we get ready for the Cassia County Fair Parade. It looks like mostly sunny skies for today, high of 84. Tonight we are expecting a low of 55. Tomorrow, another beautiful day. Sunny and 85 with an overnight low of 53. As we head on into the weekend, looks like sunny skies. Highs are going to be in the mid to upper 80s, close to 90. That is your weather for Zebeth Rand.
Thank you, Gina. Great job always. Appreciate her help. And, of course, brought to you by Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane and Company. And they really can help you if you're starting a business or a partnership or a corporation, or you're a business owner that's kind of scratching their head a little bit saying, should I hire some more employees or not? They can help and will help. Get a hold of them today. 2 locations, Burley and Rupert, Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane and Company. All right, your turn. Give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. With all that we've talked about this morning, with what's going on in the world, I really, especially right here in the United States, I'd really like to hear from you. I mean, you're the important cog in the wheel, and I really do appreciate everything and anything that you have to tell us, so your comments are welcome. Give me a jingle, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. For those that are, let's just say, middle of the road, and those that say, oh, well, the problem will take care of itself, it'll go away, I pity you. It's not going to go away. It's not meant to go away. There is too much money. There are too many influential people. There are too many organizations that want to see the destruction of our Constitution, our value system, and, quite frankly, the bottom line, our United States of America. We need to step up, and we need to make our voices heard. Whether it's on this show, whether you call your senator, I don't care what you do, but you got to step up and speak up. We've got to stop this mess that's going on in this country. I mean, when I saw the video of these stupid goons That's what they are, stupid goons. Putting a rope around the neck of the statue of Robert E. Lee and pulling it over. Now, whether you're a supporter of the Union or the Confederacy way back into the 1860s with the Civil War, there are a lot of people in this country that have heritage and family, etc., tied to that history. And when you see these goons topple the statue and then walk over to it, spit on it, and break it apart, you've got to realize something's wrong with America, that we can't stand our history and our heritage, and we're so weak that we have to try to take everything out of eyesight. And then these goons that took red spray paint and went to the Lincoln Memorial and painted obscenities all over the Lincoln Memorial, and it is going to take a while with the right chemicals and additives and everything else trying to get that off so that they don't have to resurface it and lose the originality. Why? Why is there so much hatred of this country? Why are we letting these hate groups run and rule us? Every time I see somebody from Black Lives Matter, I'm going to be very honest with you, I just get white-knuckled. Their lives matter no more than anybody else's. And I'm sick of the title, I'm sick of the organization, I'm sick of what they stand for, because all of our lives matter. Not just one group that wants to elevate themselves above everybody else. What are your thoughts? Give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Remember, silence is not golden. You need to let your voices be heard. Don't forget, too, our friends at Autumn Haven Assisted Living Center, 924 Christian Way in Rupert. The number to call, 436-3200. They are the only locally owned and operated assisted living facility in the Mini-Cassia area, and they can help your family members with that little extra care, that little extra help. That's right, they make every effort to make Autumn Haven the best place. And they're so involved in community events like the Wilson Theater and all the other things, and they've got barbecues out on the patio. I mean, it is home to many people. And they're small compared to some, but with a bigger heart than most. Don't forget to give them a call today, 436-3200, Autumn Haven Assisted Living Center in Rupert. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Hello, Dad. How are you?
I am mad and not going to apologize.
Okay. I don't want you to. But when they say that their lives matter, isn't that very egotistical? Aren't all lives important? And as Americans, we all count on each other to help each other and support each other. Those people are so selfish that they use that chant to get everybody riled up, and it just causes greater divide.
How can anyone sit in front of their television set or go to their church on Sunday or go to the Kiwanis meeting or go to whatever organization and sit there and go, oh, well, they'll go away, when these people are chanting for insurrection? These people want to see the destruction of America. And I absolutely am very worried this morning, Chris, that if we don't do something, and I mean this isn't theatrics, this is the honest truth, we have got to nip this right now in the bud and stop it, put our boot heel on it, if you will, because America is at stake.
Well, and see, this is the result of years of bringing up our pampered children to telling them that they are the most important things in the whole world.
I agree.
Well, my children are the most important things in my world, but all of people's children are important.
That's right.
When are we going to start respecting each other's reason for being here? And when they go into the streets and chant and cause people to get frenzied and angry, nobody's life is important.
But you know, the tearing down of history and heritage, the destruction and the threats that they're going to tear up the Constitution because it was written by racist white men and we've got to redo it. We're talking about the greatest country in the world with the greatest organization of how this country was built and how it was grown over 200 plus years. And to think that these offshoot nut job groups are going to come in and tear it all apart, we've got to stop it.
Well, we do. And the saddest thing is that for at least 30 years now, the educators and the people who are writing the textbooks and a lot of the people who are teaching from them have forgotten how we got here.
That's right.
They're so young that they don't know this. And everybody, and especially the people who are educating the next generation, needs to remind our kids that this nation didn't get great without a lot of adversity and a lot of very brave people putting their life on the line to keep these ideals strong.
Absolutely.
And if we let them take them away, you forget your history and you're going to repeat it again.
Absolutely. Chris, you're always welcome. I'm going to head up to the news right now, but thank you for wrapping up the hour for me. I appreciate it. God bless you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Next hour, we have, of course, Kelton Hatch with the Idaho Fishing Game. I think he's probably sitting out in my driveway right now, just listening to the radio, waiting for the opportune time to make his grand entrance as we roll out the red carpet, and all the trumpets will play loudly in honor of his being here. And we say to you, stay tuned for more Zeb at the Ranch right here on 1230 AM, K-Bar Radio, and streaming live all over the internet, zebbell.com. Another hour coming up with the Idaho Fishing Game. Don't you go away. Oh, good morning, and welcome back. And as I said, we just issued the entourage out of the studio and limited it just to the conqueror, Kelton Hatch, with the Idaho Fishing Game. We're going to have him on momentarily. Zeb at the Ranch with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations, and of course some of our great advertisers, and they include Western Waste Services, always at your disposal. Call them 734-6969. I made the bad mistake of leaving my very, very favorite Chicago Cubs baseball bat that my grandson had given me on the desk. And he who cannot leave anything alone and has to play with every single thing he finds on the desk, leave the cords alone today. Kelton Hatch, Idaho Fishing Game, how are you?
Good. I was just hoping that if I held this in my hand, it'd teach you'd be nice to me.
You thought I would be intimidated.
No, I thought you'd be nice.
No, I'm not going to be. I have no reason to be.
Put your knuckles right up here.
You sound like my grade school teacher, Mrs. Kiltz. Yeah. Put your hand on the corner of the desk. Whack. Whack. I want to start the program off with you and let you know that you can't go nah, because I did go down and make an application for possibly getting the draws that were not claimed.
I'm going to make a phone call and verify this.
I've got it on my desk.
Okay.
Leave me alone.
Well, good. I'm glad.
Oh.
I'm glad you're supporting Idaho Department of Fish and Game.
Now all I have to do is beat 30,000 other people.
You know, you'd only had to beat 2,500 other people if you'd applied the first time.
Don't give me the what ifs. Okay.
Woulda, shoulda, coulda.
Yeah.
Oh, well, hey, you know, somebody's got to draw. And that's a good one to kick off with is applications ended yesterday, so if you didn't get in for the second draw, you can't do it now.
You're done.
And we're hoping to push these through quick because we've got a lot of these hunts that are
When will they come out, by the way?
They're guaranteed to be out by the 25th.
Of this month.
I'm hoping that they're out before the 20th.
Okay. And what's the notification process?
You can go online and take your hunting license number and type it in online.
Okay.
And you can go to the control hunt drawing results. or if you draw, they will send you a blue card, and that blue card will take a few days to get to your house. And if your hunt's going, I would just kind of check the system. And, well, the easiest way to find out, are you a Facebooker, Zeb?
No. I have a Facebook page.
Well, that's with me.
Yeah.
But I have one just for work and stuff like that. But if you go to Magic Valley Fish and Game, the moment that the results are out, we'll throw something on that Facebook page so you can, in a link, so that you can click on it and go see if you drew.
You will know. I will call you.
Probably in the dark of the night.
In the middle of the night.
So,
hey, hunting season underway. I'm so glad that we had this program today, because I've been emphasizing on the program hunting season right here, and there's a lot of things in addition to just going hunting that people need to know, and you've encompassed some of these things about the fire danger and everything else. So we've got a lot to talk about. Let's get right to it. Let's start first of all with the seasons that are available and open right now.
Yep, we've got pronghorn that started yesterday.
It did?
It did. Archery pronghorn started yesterday. A lot of success. It's been hot, dry. A lot of pronghorn are hitting the water. And so you bet, down south, as well as any unit that we've got any pronghorn going on, our officers had seen quite a bit of success. The other day, our pronghorn counts looked good because we just went out and had completed comp ratios, determining on how many fawns per how many does to how many bucks we're seeing out there, and numbers look good. It didn't look like we had a lot of effect from this past winter. And there's a couple areas that numbers are down a little bit, but it could have been due to being so dry that they're really dispersed trying to find water sources and things like that. And so it takes a couple of years of counting to be able to really know exactly what's going on with the population, but they weren't out of line, I should say, from years past. And so, but that's going on. We've got several elk hunts that are going on right now.
Now, is that archery?
Oh,
it's rifle.
Rifle
I see.
Out in the desert and stuff. Some of these greenfield hunts. And the reason you have rifle hunts going right now is because we've got a lot of corn that is tall, and a lot of elk that like going into the corn. and so
eat tall corn.
And eat tall corn, or they go in. The rough part right now is those bulls will go in and start rubbing velvet off in the corn.
Yeah.
And when a bull, with a big rack starts swinging around, he tears a lot of corn out. And I've seen fields that we've lost, farmers have lost, 30, 40 acres where they'll just completely mash it down.
And that does not make them happy campers.
Well, no, it doesn't make us, because we end up reimbursing them a lot of times.
Yeah.
And so, that just takes money out of where we could be.
So you have a rifle hunt on now for bull elk,
bulls and cows,
in
some of the areas.
Certain
not all of our units are open, but we do have some that are open right now.
Is up here quite a problem because of all the corn there?
We used to have a lot of issues. The hunts that we've had down here in 54 and stuff like that have really negated a lot of those problems in the past. We still have a few permits out there that people can hunt on, and just to kind of keep them remembering that this isn't where you want to be.
Yeah.
And so, but the elk numbers are doing really well, and we're not seeing the damage that we were once seeing.
One of the things, and I'm not ashamed to admit it, that has inhibited Deanne and I from going up in the South Hills quite a bit this summer is the extensive fire danger.
Well, and I cannot stress that enough. I ran into some folks out at the Cassia County Fair last night, and they were talking about a couple of guys that are out there that are farmers out here on the desert, and they're just terrified right now because a lot of them still have barley standing and other crops that have cured out, and they're just really concerned with the number of sportsmen they're starting to see out there. And so, guys, when we're out and about, make sure you have your spark arresters in your motorcycles and on your ATVs, and do not park with dried grass underneath your vehicle. You really need to get out of your truck and kick all the dried grass down.
I got a dumb question for you. ATVs going through the grass, is there enough of a friction at that passing through that it could start a fire?
The big thing is you see is wheel bearings or chains dragging, or wheel bearings going out on those things, or things. We had a fire that was started up in Sun Valley. That a guy was shooting full metal jacket bullets just out target practicing, and some people saw a spark where he was shooting, or they didn't see the spark, but they saw where he was shooting, and it started the fire on the side hill. That's how dry it is. And so any place you're getting sparks or can cause sparks, that's the thing you really have to watch out for. A lot of these fires along the interstate are either from cigarettes getting flipped out, or more likely is a bearing going out of a tire going flat, and then the rim hitting the pavement and causing sparks. Yeah. And things like that can... So you have to be aware. I don't go anywhere this time of year without a fire extinguisher and without...
Now that is a very good point to bring up on the ATVs.
You bet. I carry one on my ATV. I carry one on my pickup. I have a shovel. And I've got a couple things. Not that you could slow one down. I mean, if it really took off and there's a 30-knot wind,
you better get out of Dodge City.
You better just get on the line and call. But just be smart when you're up there. Don't be starting campfires out of there. I think it's level 1 right now. You may want to check that, but I think it's level 1, and so that means no fires outside of designated campgrounds in campfire rings and in designated. So you can't just have a campfire anywhere.
So what do you think as far as minimizing the problem? Is it going to take like 2 or 3 good rainfalls?
Oh, you bet. You know, we get some cool weather and we get some rain and start greening things up a little bit. You know, that's one thing that I love about the Magic Valley. Our rainy season seems to come in October, November. Yeah. And so, you know, we can get some rain and we can get a little bit of green up and it can cool off and it'll help. But it's just, you know, it's a tinderbox out there. So people just need to be careful, and you don't want to you know, blow up your hunting area with a fire by doing something silly when you're up scouting, or you don't want to have to pay for that, because they can come back and charge the person that starts that. And so be cautious.
I do know, though, on the other side of that coin, that there is a lot of optimism for the hunters, because I have seen a lot of big rack deer up there. It's going to be a good hunting season.
It is. It is. I think things are going to be really good. We're one of the few areas in the state that are really looking... I mean, all the other areas in the state are looking good, but we had the highest fawn survival and deer survival out of anywhere pretty much in the state this last...
Unit 54 and 55?
In all the Magic Valley.
All of it.
In all of the Magic Valley. We've just been living right, evidently. And so things look pretty good. And the other thing about, you know, we talk about fire danger and how warm it is. Another thing people need to be prepared that are out hunting is how are you going to take care of that animal when it hits the dirt?
Boy, I was just going to get into that, because, you know, I'm a little bit fussy about how we take care of our food. And, boy, if you're out there and you're looking at 85, 90-degree weather, which right now we're going to have through the weekend at least, you better make preparations so that meat's not going to come back to haunt you.
Exactly, and it doesn't take long for that meat to turn. Personally, I would recommend, if you can't get it harvested early in the morning,
don't go.
Wait until late in the evening to go back, and hopefully you can harvest some. Preferably for me, when I'm archery hunting and stuff like that, I really like my evening hunts the best, because I've got all night to work on it in the cool. And I mean, it's been beautiful. Yeah. These last week,
you could see your breath the other morning walking. Awesome. It was really nice.
48 degrees the other morning at our place, nice. You know, and every night's in the low 50s. But you know, you get an animal down, you get it out of that direct sun. It's cool like that. But you know, just be prepared. Take you an ice chest with some ice in it, and get that meat off the bone. Get it in the cooler. I know that if you harvest it out there a ways, you're going to have to bone it out.
I was going to ask you, what about, this is kind of a hard question to answer, but it's something that just hit me. How much time, honestly, is safe time when you're looking at 85, 90-degree weather to get to the animal, start dressing the animal, and care for the meat in a cooler condition?
You know, I would hate to put just moments on there, but it wouldn't bother me 3 to 4 hours, as long as I got the hide off, got some cool air blowing on it, or could get it. or in a cooler. I mean, typically, I mean, the animals you're hunting right now are typically fairly close to a waterhole, pronghorn, and stuff like that. When we've harvested pronghorn, even in the morning, it's pretty quick to get them off the bone. Throw them in a backpack, and I've got one area that I used to hunt a lot that was about 2.5 miles from my truck. But I mean, you can walk that out in a half hour, 45 minutes, and so from start to finish, it's less than an hour.
Yeah.
And I've never had issues myself. Elk, the problem with them, they're just a bigger animal.
They're big.
They're a big animal, but we've had those down. If I can find a canyon or with some timber on a north slope, you can get them processed, get them into that area, and then finish processing them, because that north slope's cooler, the heavy timber helps. If you got a creek running through the bottom, it just stays cooler in that timber.
Absolutely.
And so if you can get them in something like that before you can get them to the truck, that will also help. But getting the direct sun off them, a tarp or something over them, to cover it, you want air movement and you want them off the ground, but you want to get them to a cooler as quick as possible.
Let me, if I could, take the initiative here to turn around the next two subjects. And I want to talk, first of all, before we talk about the second draw results, I want to talk about remember hunting ethics. There's so much under that word ethics, and being up in the hills or out in the desert, whatever. I'm just going to come right out and say my viewpoint. I am sick and tired of people going out there or up there and treating the land like a garbage dump.
Well, it wears you out, and that's the thing that's interesting to me when we get talking about ethics, because everybody has their own thing, their own pet peeve. With you, I know it's garbage and trash, people trashing things, people throwing their soda pop cans or any type of beverage can out, or candy wrappers and stuff, drives me nuts. The things that really pop to my mind on ethics is, right now is a good example of it, Zeb. We have had a scoping process on the use of trail cameras and two-way radios. It drives me nuts that we're going in and we're scoping these type of things because we cannot enforce ethics. Even if any of these rules pass, it's really hard for us to enforce them. And so people have to, I don't even know how to explain this for sure. There's so many things that are out there that are going on that take away from the overall enjoyment of hunting for other people.
Well, let's characterize some of those things. What do you mean?
Well, I guess when I get thinking about ethics, I get thinking about treating others the way you want to be treated.
The biblical prophecy.
The biblical, yeah. So if it's a landowner, do you want somebody driving their pickup onto your lawn when it's wet and cleaning their truck out on your front yard?
There you go.
Well, farmers feel that same way when hunters drive into their meadows or drive into their fields, leave gates down, kick garbage out, and treat it like a dump like you're talking about, or cut fences. Do you want that done in your yard? It's hard for us to enforce that, and that's where it falls back on ethics. The other thing is if you see somebody else stalking an animal, and you can see they're in the process of it, and you're the second Johnny-come-lately, and all of a sudden you see it, well, just because you saw it, and it's fair game for everybody, to me, it's not ethical to stalk that animal if I see somebody else already in the process
Absolutely.
of it.
It's kind of a first-come, first-served.
To me, it is. And we have issues with this every year.
Really?
Yeah. People will see it, and somebody will start shooting at a deer, and then 3 other people will start shooting at the same deer, and then there'll be an argument over whose deer it actually is on the side of the mountain. And it's like, well, these guys were in the process, and granted, it wasn't on the ground when you saw it, but to me, it was kind of like...
it's kind of human courtesy.
Well, it is. I guess it's the same way when you was in high school. Your buddy liked a gal. You didn't go chasing her.
Maybe we better not go down that road.
but it was just, it's the buddy code.
Yeah,
it's the buddy code. And so I don't know, ethics like that. Ethics. I mean, there's just so many little things out there, and we've got more and more people trying to use these natural resources. We have more and more people moving to the Magic Valley. It's one of the fastest growing areas in the state, and so we've got more people trying to use the resource. We just have to go out with an attitude that we're here to have fun and it's not a competition.
And, I'm going to say this before we take this call, and I don't know if you're going to agree with me on this or
Probably
not.
but maybe.
Yeah, okay. I'm old-fashioned in my thinking and the way I was raised. And, if you have a little hunting camp and you're up there at a fire and you're visiting and all of a sudden people just barge in on four-wheelers and everything, I was raised, you stayed outside the perimeter of the camp and said, hello, the camp, may we come in? I'm just that way. I don't like people just barging into my camp. What are your thoughts?
I agree, because it makes you nervous because society has changed.
Amen.
I don't know that it's changed a ton. There's just a lot more people out there, but no, it's just common courtesy.
Yeah.
Treat others the way you want to be treated.
Amen. We got a caller with a question. Go ahead, caller, please.
This is kind of a funny thing, but why do we call, when we kill a deer or animal, we dress them? No, we don't. We undress them.
Oh, boy. Okay.
We're dressing them for the freezer.
Yes.
Well, I want to be politically correct.
Not on this program. You called the wrong show, buddy. Thank you for your call. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Oh, boy. I'm sorry, but when you start talking about ethics, and yes, you were right in your assumption earlier, it is my pet peeve, whether you're going up in midsummer or early spring, any time of the year, and you see nothing but old Pepsi cans and Hostess Twinkie wrappers and all this.
Were you following a black pickup?
No. Was it yours?
No. I don't drink Pepsi or
no, but
my wife won't let me eat.
You know as well as I do that it's just lazy, slovenly people that would open the window and throw the trash on the ground.
If you can pack it in, you can pack it out.
Amen. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Zeb, another thing, the policy of hunters or even just four-wheelers, if the gate is closed, you close it after you go through.
Amen.
If it's open, leave it open.
Amen.
I know where there's a real serious problem going to happen if things don't change, and they close the gates when they're supposed to be closed. Thank you.
And he's 100% right. When you come up to a gate and you find it closed, it's really simple. Open it, close it, drive away. If you come up to a gate that is open, it's open primarily for maybe a reason of letting cattle come back or whatever. Leave the doggone gate in the status it was.
I totally agree. There's nothing more frustrating. We've had several incidences over on our cattle range where somebody will leave it open during the archery season before we're rounding up cattle, and we end up with all of them down in our meadows and things like that. And then it takes 10 men, 4 days of work to load them all back up in trailers and get them up, because it's really hard to drive cattle from green alfalfa or green pasture back to dry pasture, I found. Even with a herd of dogs.
It can lead one to use language that perhaps you wouldn't use otherwise.
No, we're near a church. So, yeah, I always said that's the only... It's legal to swear at cattle.
It is. I think it's in the Bible.
It is.
All right. Hey, listen, I've got to pay some bills here real quick. Cassia County Fair and Rodeo, and the big parade is supposed to start in about 3 minutes. Holy cow. Cassia County Fair and Rodeo for 2017. Big parade at 10:30 this morning. Tonight they'll have the finals of the Moto Rodeo. And then Thursday through Saturday, the great big PRCA Rodeo at your Cassia County Fair and Rodeo. And don't forget on Friday and Saturday afternoon at 1 o'clock, Paramutual Horse Racing. Kelton, get your checkbook. And all the carnival, all the exhibits, everything, a great big part of your Cassia County Fair and Rodeo. By the way, I want to say thank you to these businesses that are urging you to be in attendance. Pickett Equipment Company at 976 East Main in Burley with Steve and the whole crew. Oh, the best of bean equipment, most innovative equipment, and they ship equipment all over the world. Pickett Equipment Company in Burley. The Goody Shop at 133 East Main in Burley with the wonderful Shelley and all the gals. I'm telling you, it lives up to the name. Goody Shop. All the best of cookies and brownies and sandwiches and everything else at the Goody Shop. 647-0106. And, of course, our thanks also to Streamline Precision. Tim and the rest of the crew, they can do and build all your steel buildings. That's right, just the way you want them. Agricultural, industrial, and community buildings. I'm telling you, they know how to build it. They've been doing it for years. Call them at 431-7314. Streamline Precision in Burley, and those folks all want you to go to the Cassia County Fair and Rodeo. We have got about a minute left in this segment, and second draw results. Do you want to have more time for that after the break?
Yeah, we can talk about that, but I was just going to say, since she was talking about the Cassia Fair and Rodeo, stop by and see us at the booth.
Where are you?
We're in the Merchants Building.
Okay.
On the north side.
On the north side.
Facing north.
And you're going to be there?
I will be there today and tomorrow.
Signing autographs?
No.
The Incredible Bulk?
No.
Oh.
But I did. There's quite a few folks that listen to you that stop by.
Yeah.
Yesterday.
And they get a chance to meet you and shake your hand and offer to take you out to dinner and buy you a new baseball bat or whatever.
No.
Oh.
No. But I will say howdy.
Okay. We're going to send it back over to Wheels. We'll be back in about 3 minutes.
And now, back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KBAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb.
In the studio with the Incredible Bulk, Idaho Fish and Game, Kelton Hatch. Kelton, I want to go back. We kind of reversed the order here a little bit. Second draw results. Now, is that what you're referring to as far as what I did the other day?
And we already talked about that a little bit earlier, and so you just jumped ahead of the gun because you're so excited.
I was. I was. And everybody's going to be notified on or near the 25th.
On or near the 25th. But like I said, go to Facebook, Fish and Game Magic Valley. Okay. And we will have it posted when it comes out.
Oh, there's a kind of a separation on the items that you brought here this morning, and you've got right in the middle of the page, it says, what to do with injured wildlife.
You wouldn't think that we talked about this all the time.
How many thousand times have we discussed this?
You know, We've had some things come up in the past, and in this last week there's a deal that happened. There was a raptor, a hawk, that was hit on a road, and we couldn't get over to get it. And there's just a lot of people that they had some concerns about that. What's going on right now is we've got a lot of these younger hawks that are fledging or taking flight out of the nest and stuff like that, and several of them have been getting hit this last week. On average, people wouldn't believe this, but we get about 50 plus hawk calls a week.
A week?
A week. Wow. Plus another 20 plus skunk, raccoon.
Oh, that's one I'm not touching with a 10-foot pole.
You know, other calls a week. And so we have a lot of... we've just getting more and more people in the area.
What do they call you about skunks?
Well, they want us to come and trap them or move them, and we don't do that. We have traps that we loan out for people. Then they can come and rent them, or it's not really renting them. They leave a deposit how much it's going to cost us to replace it if they don't come back with it. And so we loan those out for folks. But a lot of these, we get to as many of these hawk calls as we can. What our priority is on this, and it sounds kind of cold. I'm really sorry when people, because some people are going to take offense to this. We cannot get to every hawk call.
Yeah, why can't you? I mean, you've got unlimited resources. You've got unlimited personnel. Why not?
And so we push it as quick as we can. You know, and I pick up a lot. If it's in somebody's yard and things like that, if they're elderly, we make a real concerted effort. If we see a dead deer, I mean, I had a guy say the other day, well, why aren't you guys out picking up all the deer on the edge of the road? And we do pick up quite a few of them, especially if they're in town. ITD is huge, and the county employees in all the counties around here, they pick up a ton of deer.
Yeah.
It's just, there's just so much
you
of it
can't
that
be
we
all
can't,
things to all people.
But we are doing our best.
Yeah, I know that. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Quickly.
Bill, this is Mike Henson. I know who that guy is. I just want to know, it's 44-2. Does that got a lot of antelope in there?
Yeah, it's a good unit.
And for November 1st to the 30th, is that going to be too hot to get them out and all stuff to spoil the meat at all?
You're going to be lucky if your fingers don't freeze to it in November up in Fairfield.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
So, no, that'll be a good time of year. You're just the ones we're concerned about right now, the ones that are going on in August.
Right. And is that enough? Is that fires going to close that unit down or what?
No, I don't. There's portions of 52 that are closed just because of how much of it's burned. But nothing that I know of up in that area is going to close any of the units down unless something kicks up later. And I doubt in November that we'll have anything going on up there.
All right, sir.
You know who I am, Mike Hansen.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Well, thank you very, very much for your phone call. Appreciate hearing from you. Thank you, sir. Have a good day. Thank you. You know something? I'm going to admit I lost something here this morning that you and I were supposed to talk about. Do you have any idea what it is? You should remember. Christensen Taxidermy, right?
Oh, that's not me. That's you.
I know it is. And the paper was right here on my desk, and I don't find it.
As I recall, he had a call last month.
Yeah, but I remembered this month, but I can't find the copy. I'm going to ask my lovely wife, Deanne, in very simple terminology, please help me. And we'll get that on before the end of the program. So, in other words, injured wildlife. You can't be all places for all
time. And if you see something, give us a call, especially deer. I mean, I get lots of calls on deer and pronghorn and animals that are tangled up in a fence. No, if you see a pronghorn that's tangled up in the fence and you have a pair of fence clippers and you want to let it out. Just try to fix the fence for the farmer after you do it. And so, but just be careful that you don't get injured yourself. But no, we get a lot of calls. We expect to get a lot of calls. But if you see something weird going on with them, give us a holler.
All right. Now, you've got also a note here quickly about a commission meeting.
We do. We've got the Fish and Game Commission meeting. It's going to be in Boise.
Can you say that again? I want to hear that
Idaho
again.
Department of Fish and Game Commission meeting, August 25th in Boise.
Okay.
It's going to be at the Walnut Building. It's going to start at 11 a.m., and they're going to approve sage-grouse seasons. They're going to talk about the two-way radio communications as well as the use of game cameras. There's not going to be a public hearing that day just because it's a one-day meeting. They've taken testimony on it at our last commission meeting in Coeur d'Alene last month, as well as they've had hundreds of comments on it. But if you want to go watch that, that's going on at the Boise office on the 25th at 11 a.m.
All right. I want to get into the fishing a little bit. I bought my license, as you know, my hunting and fishing license, and I've come...
I was going to tell you something. That's good, because you purchased your license this year, Zeb, do you know what it means next year?
Same price.
You get it for the same price. If you don't purchase did you buy Deanne's?
She doesn't like to fish.
Okay.
She's good at fishing.
Well, next year her license is going to cost 20% more unless you buy her one this year.
I got to buy her one this year?
Yep,
okay.
Because that's price lock. It'll lock her in at this year's price.
Okay.
If you purchase it this year. If you don't purchase it this year, next year your license and tags will go up 20%.
Okay, I had to give a private message to my wife right there while you were talking.
It's really hard when people aren't paying attention. I hope
and I got to apologize to you. It wasn't fair to just all of a sudden start conversing when you're trying to be really eloquent on the radio. But then I thought, what else is new?
Yeah.
Anyway, let's talk a little bit about fishing. Steelhead season's to close soon.
Yeah, it's going to close on the 17th of August because we're just not getting the fish in. It's we just did not get the return on fish this year. They're still allowing catch and release for steelhead.
Okay.
However, there's no harvest.
Okay.
And so we're hoping to...
What do you do in the case of all of a sudden it's what do I want to say, reparable to turn back into the water? I mean, what do you do in a case like that? Take the fish home? Just leave it on the bank? What do you do with it?
Turn it back into the water.
Even dead?
Well, hopefully it's not dead.
Well,
but if it's the thing is people, the easiest way to keep a fish alive when you catch it is to cut the line instead of taking the hook out. The hook will rust out within 2 to 3 days anyway.
Really?
And so just cut the line. That
You're
hook
kind of a cold-hearted bugger.
How?
Well, I mean,
look at all these kids.
Hey, Martha, leave the hook in your mouth.
Well, you see all these kids with piercings in their
Yo,
nose and their
even
lips,
go there.
and they're still alive.
I know. I saw one the other day that just curdled my milk. I couldn't handle it.
But
really, cut the line.
Cut the line.
Wow.
And
can you take a picture first?
You can, but just don't drag it up on the beach and get it all
on the beach.
Yeah, on the beach, on the rocks, in the sand. So just leave it in the water, take your picture, and then cut the line and let it go.
Okay.
And you'll keep them alive that way.
Now, what is this triploid cutthroat?
I was just going to see how. Let's see, how do you know what triploid is?
Well, I said it correctly because it's not that hard, but triploid cutthroat.
I have 3 chromosome fish, so they cannot reproduce.
3 chromosome fish.
And they had done this.
Why did you do this to them?
Why did we do this to them? Well, we ran triploid trout in most of our lakes for several years, and the reason is because cutthroat trout are the native fish to a lot of these fisheries.
Yeah.
At one time, we used to release a lot of rainbows in hopes that they would reproduce some to help add fish to the fishery. However, we come to find out cutthroat and rainbows like each other, and then they have a fish called a cutbow when they spawn together.
Really?
And so
they're starting kind of a rainbow family.
Yeah, well, it is. Okay, whack. That's why I've got the bat, folks. He's just got hit. And so we started raising triploid fish. We do this by, at first, there's heat shocking the eggs after they've been.
Now who sounds cruel?
Yeah, well, that's an egg. It doesn't have a lot of fillings, we don't think. And then we started doing a pressurized treatment to the eggs, and it mutates the cell division so that they can become triploid trout, so they can't reproduce. It's about
like a vasectomy.
Kinda. Okay, for simpler terms, okay, no. But we make it a triploid, 3 chromosome fish.
Why is your face red?
I'm not. It's just, it's hard enough to explain. I'm sure the rest of the public's getting it, except you are the hard one to get it through to. And so,
okay,
we've raised these triploids. The reason we're putting them in high mountain lakes, though,
I can't wait to hear this.
We don't want them to, well, because how many times have you gone up and you caught a fish up in a high mountain lake, and they're only like 2 inches long or 4 inches long, and their head's the size of yours? They've got these great big heads.
I will get even.
I know. But they've got this big head and little itty-bitty body.
That's not my case.
That's not your case. But these fish will have these big heads.
Seriously?
Well, because there's not enough food in the water. They over-reproduce. And so there's not enough food for them in the water. The other thing
sounds like our welfare system.
Yeah, and it takes a lot of energy for them to spawn, and so these fish never gain much size. We've started putting triploid trout in these lakes, and these fish are growing larger because they're not expelling energy on spawning, and they're also not overpopulating the pond so that there's plenty of food for the fish that are in there.
You're doing great. I got to compliment you. You're doing good.
So there's plenty of food in those ponds for them to actually grow. And so the fish are getting bigger. So that's why we're starting.
Beggars? No, they're getting bigger.
They're getting bigger. That's why we're planting.
It's with an I instead of an E.
Okay. That's why we're planting triploids in high mountain lakes.
Wow. I've often gone
that story would have taken 2 minutes, but Zeb kept interrupting.
I've often gone to bed at night and wondered and pondered about triploids. Hey, my lovely bride has come up with some information, and we want to talk about Christensen Taxidermy. And I know you can help, too. They're located at 1560 21st Street in Heyburn, and they do a wonderful job. And for now, this time of the year, all the hunters need to know that if they've got something they really want to mount on their wall or have for their fireplace or for perhaps their den, now's the time to get a hold of Christensen Taxidermy. They specialize in birds and big game, and I'll give you the number, 208-431-9789. Really good people and over 40 years experience. He knows what he's doing. He brought a wolf in here one time, and it was really interesting to see. Christensen Taxidermy, 1560 21st Street in Heyburn. Call them at 431-9789, and I apologize to them, and we'll give them a free ad next time, because I lost the copy. It's not here right at my fingertips, and I'm sorry about that. Say something, for Pete's sakes, would you?
I'm in awe that you apologized.
Yeah. No. What about, I got to do a weather forecast, and then I want to come back and talk about fishing. I understand it's really, really good right now.
Best time of year.
Okay, hold on. Our weather is brought to you by Scarrows Meats. Thanks for all your help a minute ago. 331 North Road in Jerome. Number to call, 324-7657. Or, by the way, you can go to their website, scarrowsmeats.com. Oh, they're beautiful, delicious retail meats. Oh, my goodness. Everything from prime rib all the way to breakfast sausage and bratwurst and bacon. Oh, my. Live like a king. Be sure and check out the meats at Scarrows Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome. And right now, here's the weather.
Here's your weather forecast as we get ready for the Cassia County Fair Parade. It looks like mostly sunny skies for today, high of 84. Tonight we are expecting a low of 55. Tomorrow, another beautiful day. Sunny and 85 with an overnight low of 53. As we head on into the weekend, looks like sunny skies. Highs are going to be in the mid to upper 80s, close to 90. That is your weather for Zebba Durant.
Thank you, Gina. Brought to everybody by Scarrows Meats. Oh, my. They're located at 331 North Road, Jerome, 324-7657, and it's true. They're changing the way we eat one delicious bite at a time. Ladies and gentlemen, I got to tell you that in this studio with Kelton Hatch for an hour once a month is way too much time. Would you leave my Cubs baseball bat and the ball alone? He's trying to play kind of like tennis across the table with me with a baseball.
It's called baseball when you hit a baseball with a baseball bat.
Yeah, but the way you are, kind of sissified, holding that bat, it looked like a tennis racket.
I didn't want to stand up and swing it. I had to stay close to my microphone. Okay. No, I'm very ADD, if you haven't noticed.
Boy, can I ever relate to that. Anyway, fishing is good.
Oh, man, right now. And it's kind of funny. I've got some of my buddies that are hardcore hunters and that fish all summer, and then I've got some of my buddies that are just hardcore anglers, and they can't wait until all the hunters are gone hunting. This summer, they call them the part-time anglers, because they take off and go hunting in the fall, because then they have the lakes to themselves. The water's cooled off. The water's clear. The streams have dropped.
Yeah.
And the fishing is really going gangbusters. It's starting to go gangbusters right now. Give it another couple weeks with these cooler temperatures we're having, and fishing has really picked up, but it will even pick up more.
Really?
Right now we're getting some reports of blue-green algae.
I've heard about that. You were talking about that last month. Very dangerous.
It is for your dogs, and if they inhale it, or any animals, humans, it can make you very sick. I don't know whether I would be guessing that it would actually.
Why would you want to put blue-green algae in your mouth unless you're water skiing?
Well,
or something?
they're and typically it gets in bays or real stagnant ponds of water, and so you have to be really cautious with it. We've got a few lakes. You can go to our Fish and Game website, and it has those lakes highlighted. We don't report this. This goes through. We try to spread the message that it's going on and the lakes that it's in, but it goes through Department of Water Quality. and it also goes through the county health departments.
How do you? Now, I'm not trying to be facetious, which is one of the first times
It's
this
blue
morning.
and green.
It is bluish green as compared to kind of a pale green of the other.
Yeah, and a lot of it's on the surface of the water and stuff like that. And so
don't let your dog drink out of that,
or you go swimming in it. And so you have to be careful with that. We're also there's copepods.
Who?
Copepods. It's a parasite that's in a lot of our lakes.
Copepods.
Copepod.
What are they?
It will attach itself to a rainbow trout, get a blood meal, and when it does this, it kind of disturbs the mucous membrane on the outside of the fish, and they'll get a raspberry or a red mark on their side. We're starting to get some reports on this from Salmon Falls Creek Reservoir and a few other lakes around. This is not dangerous for you to eat around. It's just a superficial...
What are they? Copepods?
Copepod.
Copepods.
Copepod.
And it is a what?
It's a parasite.
Parasite.
It's like sea lice. Have you ever seen sea lice on ocean run fish?
No.
Well... do you fit? No, I'm joking. It's just they just will attach, get
and this is a living organism in the water. But what does it do to human beings?
Nothing.
Huh.
It just attaches to a fish. We'll get a blood meal.
What's that thing on the side of your cheek? Is it a copepod?
No,
oh.
It's not. Okay. They have to have water. My head's not underwater.
It might be.
And so,
but I've never heard of that before.
And so,
is it prominent just here in the state of Idaho?
No,
or?
it's in almost all water systems. Once water gets to a temperature that's warm enough, they get very active.
Can you see them in the water?
No, but they will attach to. They can't, to warm water fish, they have heavier scales, and it doesn't affect them.
Like catfish?
Catfish, bluegill, perch, bass, all of them. But rainbow trout are cold water fish, and it can't.
You would think the opposite, wouldn't you? What happened to your face?
Well, I don't see how. No, because
no, I would think
rainbow trout are raised in the Rocky Mountain West, typically at higher elevations with cutthroat trout. It's colder here. Oh. Warm water fish are very. They're farm ponds in the Midwest and in a lot of the South.
And it's called
copepod
pods. I'll be darned.
And so,
see, now I got to write this down. August 16th, 2017, I learned something from Kelton Hatch.
There you go.
This is a historic day.
I still haven't got to do that.
I know.
But, I guess right now it's just, this is my favorite time of year.
Really?
I love it. Everybody goes, isn't that your busiest time of year? And I go, no, it's not. Because the thing is, all of a sudden we get to focus on one thing.
Yeah.
Hunting and fishing and the outdoor thing. And so my work after these fairs really tapers down more towards hunting and fishing and things like that with the rest of the staff. And so a lot of our other planning meetings aren't going on, and we're just focused on working with sportsmen. And so it's nice to be single focused for a while.
Do you have any advice for the maybe first-timers that have a hunting license and they're headed for the hills to stay up there for, 2, 3, 4, 5 days or whatever? Any advice from your long history of knowing everything about hunting on how to set up a camp and what gear to take and that type of thing?
Boy.
I mean, really, you're the man right now. What would you tell the first-timers of the do's and the don'ts and the haves and the have-nots of all the equipment? They can over-accessorize.
You don't need everything.
Yeah.
You just don't need everything. And if you've got everything, it kind of becomes I don't know. I'm a I can't even say that. Minimalist. Let's hear you say it.
Minimalization
is the best as far as I'm concerned. Yeah. I mean, I want a good firearm.
Take one pair of socks, take another one as a spare.
Exactly. And I like wool. Yeah. Because wool works good when it's hot. Wool works good when it's cold. It wicks moisture away from your flesh. And good shoes are a must for hiking, because if your hooves go bad, you're no good. And it's like getting your horses and dogs in shape right now.
I've been running. Now you've touched on it.
I've been running my dogs every day, twice a day for the last month.
But why do these people keep these horses? And I can think of about 3 or 4 guys around this area. They don't touch those horses the entire year until they load them in the trailer and take them up to the mountain.
You know,
that drives me nuts.
Yeah, you want to put a bit in their mouth and a 300-pound fat guy on their back and then poke him in the ribs and say, "Get going."
There you go. There you go. I got to pay some bills. Hey, get where you're going this summer and then turn around and be able to come home safely with all the tires from your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations serving you with the best of tires for all your driving. I mean, whether it's your pickup, SUV, your car, trailers, whatever, they've got all the tires, all the different tread design, and all the sizes. Stop in and see them today. And 7 locations that offer so much more, like best in brake service, front end alignment, shocks and struts, batteries, all of this under the banner of the best in service. They really take care of you for your driving safety. Stop in and see Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, Daniel on Poline in Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland in Burley, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. We have 1 minute left, and now the final words of wisdom from the guru.
There you go. Well, we'll stick on that, what you need to take when you're going hunting. Make sure somebody knows where you're going.
Boy, that's the truth.
And stay within your capabilities. Because sometimes
that confines you a lot, doesn't it?
It does. I can't leave the front room. But no, sometimes you see people that get in above their head. And know the target that you're going after. Because every year we have misidentification of wildlife, and it's the biggest thing I think is it's not a competition. Hunting is about fun and getting out and enjoying the family.
Amen.
And it's not whether I shot. To some people it's all about, and it's fine. I'm glad that we've got every aspect. It seems like it goes from I just want to hunt and kill something to I want to shoot a great big one, and then you get to my age and it's like, yeah, I enjoy
the campfire better than anything.
I do. I enjoy the conversation. Yeah. I enjoy looking at critters early in the morning and walking. I enjoy waking up because the bed hurts so bad most nights.
I got to go. We're late. Kelton Hatch, Idaho Fish and Game, and for a complete list of the do's and don'ts, write him at the Idaho Fish and Game. Yeah, I'm kidding. Thank you. Excellent program.
Hey, thanks.
I appreciate it.
Get out and have fun. Enjoy Idaho.
Wish me luck on the draw.
Good luck on the draw.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Next week, wait a minute. Next month, he'll be back. Kelton Hatch.
With bells on.
Idaho Fish and Game. We'll be back tomorrow morning at 8:06. Don't forget to tune in. 3 hours, 8:06 to 11, Zebeth Ranch, where we always say the way things were are the way things ought to be. Have a great day. God bless.